All right, Hakan, let's start with the immediate. Where are we right now and what have we just been experiencing?
Actually, in a legendary tennis club here in Stockholm at the SALK, SALK, Bjorn Borg's club where he grew up and did his first performance training with Percy Rosberg. Later on, he started to work with Lennart Bergelin, of course, international famous coach as well. And many players have been going through these doors and playing on the courts, and see back here is Bjorn, and he's everywhere here in this club. So
Yeah,
big club and great people around here.
yeah. And so this event that we're culminating on the last day here, give us a little sense of how this event came together. Why are we here? And I think importantly, why is it important for you to bring young coaches to collaborate and learn from some of the legends as well?
We have combined events like, as you know, the Professional Tennis Coaches Association is allied with Professional Tennis Players Association, and we do together. We support the International Tennis Coaches Hall of Fame, and we try to organize different events just to bring people together, network, and learn from each other, and also highlight and honor coaches that has great values and also helping other people. We are trying to, in the same time, we're trying to offer education programs,
Mhm.
but we give that to different institutions. And here in Stockholm, we have Mark Kovacs with ITPA, who does tennis performance. So, and it becomes good because we had legends yesterday evening. You were part of it. And I think we had actually about 30 Grand Slams in that room, in that party yesterday. Stefan Edberg was here, and Sven Granefeld, Thomas Högstedt, and Bob Pana was here, Scott Davidoff, and many others.
Jonas Björkman.
Jonas Björkman was here, and also Anders Järrett
Is
showed
here.
up, and I think it was terrific. And all these young coaches, they feel the spirit, and we try to pass on the legacy and combine and connect the tennis world of coaches together without being profitable with this. So this is a non-profit organization, and we try to keep it like that because then we're authentic, and that is exactly what we want to be.
Yeah, it was an incredible event. I noticed a common theme in you handed out many awards yesterday,
Yes.
which was incredible. But I noticed a theme about the awards really weren't just about acknowledging accomplishments. They also included, who these people were. And I sense from you that, as the CEO of the PTCA, somebody who's cultivating and collaborating, trying to bring coaches together, that this is a really important value of yours.
Exactly. For us, it's you need to have good results or have built something. That's for sure. But you also need the values. You will not get these awards if you're not a good person, if you're not helping other people. And maybe some people listening to this say it's not necessary. This is business. No, for us, it's not business. For us, it's really to try to improve the market, to try to raise the status of the coach's profession, and not only for the coach's profession because of it's important to bring the professional market together for physiotherapists, psychologists, mental coaches. You have so many things, medical doctors and tennis coaches, but you have also, since some years, you have those advisors, super coaches and everything. And nobody really knows what is what. And you have the physiotherapists and athletic trainers and everything. And everybody needs to become the same status to be able to improve. And this is what we do through this system as well. It's also much more easy for the players because then they know what level do their teammates have. So we try to coordinate a little bit, and so this is why Stefan Edberg got his award also yesterday as a diplomat of international tennis, not as a coach because he's coaching, but not in the same way as you are coaching, and it's not in the same way as Sven is coaching. So he's coaching in a different way, but we are all diplomats of international tennis as soon as we work in that area and environment.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you think people misunderstand about the mission or objective of the PTCA?
I think mainly a lot of people think it's a business idea because they have that idea themselves,
Hmm.
and they cannot imagine why you should give somebody else something because it's like sharks in a big big C, and I think it's important that to give back something. I mean, we were all lucky. We grew up in Sweden, many players here, and I think also everybody, not just for us that grew up in Sweden, in a great society, secure society. We could do every sport that we wanted. Everything was for free, and I think it's if you try to share these values with people that are not having this luck, or also the generation that we are all in, we were lucky as a generation as well. We didn't have a lot of wars. We could move freely. Actually, it's important to give something back, and I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the state of the union with coaching as you see it right now? As you say, coaching, it seems to be splintered. There are not necessarily accreditations to qualify you to be able to work on tour, for example.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your vision for how we,
We
change.
started with it was really great at Tennis Australia with Craig Tyler. That is an incredible personality, and he built so many things in Australia and for Australian Open, and he improved that tournament immensely. Actually, he also came into the International Tennis Coach Hall of Fame in New York this year, and he promotes and supports our mission to create the license for coaches, and not for the coaches, but let's say for the diplomats, the specialists, the experts in different areas. And that's so important because he was always a guide in this, and he also did a lot of things for the coaches all the time.
Yeah.
But specifically this year, he put the coaches and the coaches team and the players team on the court, which is very important that you try to differ different professions from also the family, which is saying that doesn't mean that the family is not important. It's very important. It's maybe the most important thing. But being a father and mother is not a profession, right? A girlfriend and boyfriend is also not a profession, but it's so important. So if you have a good girlfriend, good boyfriend, good family, that's maybe probably the most important thing that you can have. But it's not a profession, and it shouldn't be profession, because then it's not a good girlfriend anymore, or boyfriend, or father.
Yeah.
So, and obviously there are many family members and maybe also girlfriends and boyfriends that are coaches,
Yeah.
and it's a different story. As soon as so Craig, he supported this, and we are creating licenses that is actually on the table, and it's also it doesn't cost anything. This is what we're doing also with the PTPA, because we try to improve, we try to help, we try to support ATP, we try to support WTA, because we can help them so they can focus on their strengths, and we try to help them to promote their strengths. And then I think we're doing a good job, and then I think we come together, all of us, with the tours and with the PTPA and the PTCA, and then it's easy for us to help all other institutions that really need to make money, but we are not. We are in the happy position that this is not a business, and that's the beautiful part.
Yeah, yeah. And, with that, I think that last point's really important, that you're talking about collaborating with the tours already and taking some of the things off of their plate that may not necessarily be of interest for them. Same in the PTPA, right? Where I feel lucky that you and fortunate that you invited me here to also give a short talk. And, my experience is being a support for the players. And we have essentially a hotline for players who can just reach out to me whenever they want. If they need help, they need support, it's a free service for them. And what I've heard over the last couple of years, I think speaks to some of the things you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of disjointedness out there. And I
Exactly.
feel like players don't feel like they don't necessarily know how to, find the support. And I think they see systems out there that aren't collaborating with one another very well either. And so I like the fact that you and I are here talking about some of these bigger picture items
Yeah.
for collaboration and what's it all about. If you had to describe why are you so invested in this mission in the first place?
I think it's very important for me that I felt that people gave me trust to do things, and a lot of people they joined from the beginning. Also, many people that got awards yesterday, they have great results. They're one of the best coaches, medical staff in the world, but they trusted us. And I think that's a responsibility that you get. The same thing that if you play Davis Cup because of the nation that you come from, you got education, you got money. And I think it's a responsibility to give back. And I feel that I give back when I do a good job, and everybody is happy. And I see that the coaching market is not about growing.
Mhm.
It's about getting better. And the status is going together. with other professions.
Hmm.
And I think I think it's about trust. I think that is, I think I'm trust driven.
Yeah.
And I think I feel a lot of responsibilities when I get trust. So, and that feels good for me. And I think it feels good for other people as well. Sometimes money is a problem because if that is not trustable.
Hmm.
Because if you sit down and talk to somebody that you know wants to make money with something, then it's not trustable. Which, having said that, I don't mean that people shouldn't make money with what they do. Of course they should do, but not with what we are doing,
Hmm.
because you cannot bring in the money perspective in what we're doing. Then you have a problem. And this is maybe also what the tours, they have a problem with that, because they need to make money for the players. They need to make money for the tour themselves, for the tournaments, of course. But we have to cover their back. Actually, they shouldn't do what we're doing.
Yeah. Where do you see this if it goes the way you would like in 5 years? What are we doing?
Pretty sure that in a couple of years, or maybe earlier,
Yeah.
that every coach or profession on tour, or also teaching children like in other professions, that they will have a license, because you have to be accountable,
Mm.
and the tours have to be accountable for what coaches and professions are doing. And if you have a license, you can take it away, right? And if you don't have a license, it's like a Wild West.
Yeah.
So I think it's, and everybody who I talk to like that. It's like a medical doctor. They have a license. And if they do mistakes, they don't have a license anymore. So this is why you have to be a little bit careful. You have to think of what you're saying. And this is the way you can communicate in another way. And then education will always be needed. And this is why we don't do education. PTCA, we don't do education. We cooperate with education institutions, and they can make the money, and we try to help them to be organized. And you cannot license your own institution, right? So how can you do that? And ATP and WTCA, they cannot license their own coaches, because you cannot be educator and licenser in the same time. This is a corporation.
Right.
Yes, I think really, to answer the question, in 5 years, 3 years, maybe 2 years, 1 year, I think everybody would like to have the license, to be a little bit different than people that don't have a license, because they say, look, I'm accountable. I like to be accountable. I know I'm not afraid to show my CV,
Yeah.
because in that CV, everything is correct. And then everybody will be proud.
Yeah.
But if you're a little bit shady, maybe you will not. And nobody has to be afraid of this, because everybody that is on the tour today that has a WTA or ATP certification, or let's say registration, is more or less a registration. They can have this license on spot. They just have to register on our homepage,
Yeah.
and then they're in.
Yeah. That I think is one of the misunderstandings that I've heard as well. But if you create a license, what about all the people who are already doing it? And you're saying they can immediately get the license because they're doing the work.
Most of this, if you're a WTA and ATP member, they will stay WTA and ATP member. And this is what we talk to them, to talk to ATP as well about, that they can then focus on the benefits and
Mhm.
trying to make it better for the coaches. And I don't need to focus on a certification program, because we do that for them. And all the coaches, they are inside. Nobody will be left alone or left behind. But we do something together, and we do it new for the good of the players.
You mentioned license, but I think you, in a prior conversation, I think you mentioned that there might even be different types of license
Yes,
that a player or a coach could get,
exactly.
right? So just because you have a license doesn't mean you're a tour level coach.
No.
Talk to us a little bit about how you envision maybe the different levels of license.
Yes, what I talked about, we have like, you get an accreditation first, and
Mhm.
so you have to work yourself up there,
Yeah.
and which is fine, because you can, everything that is recognized, we recognize all national education programs. We recognize university studies. We recognize background as a player. We do different things.
Mhm.
So you first can achieve a registration. That's the first thing. And then you will get an accreditation. The accreditation is that we acknowledge you as a professional. The diplomate status is then the diplomate of international tennis, that you go for the international tennis, and that you are actually the same as other professions. And when you have that, you can apply for your license. which we have different paths in. Also, the diplomat have different pathways. So if you're a player and if you're successful players, our belief is that you have a good education. You cannot go through all the stages like a junior, and you play futures, you play challenges, you play the ATP or WTA tour, play Davis Cup, maybe you win, maybe Grand Slam. You do all these things. You have to handle the press. You have to handle sponsors. You have managers. You have physiotherapists. We strongly believe that if you have that, that's an education. But nobody sees it as an education. It's a specific education. It's not a very broad education, but it is an education. And you know a lot of things. So we evaluate these things. And then, so we have a tour coaching pathway. And then we have a broader pathway with a master professional where you can do everything, where you can teach kids, adults. Just because you win Wimbledon, maybe you don't know how to handle kids. But you definitely know the rules on tour. You definitely know the pressure on playing in the center court in Wimbledon. Why shouldn't you be able to use that? All these players, they can get an evaluation, which take about 10 minutes because everything is official from these players. If you're not a player with a CV that is in internet, so you can really look it up, then you will not get it, of course. But it's that's a way. So we try to get everybody inside, psychologists, doctors, everything. Everybody who's working on tour, we try to bring together to Diplomat, and the license looks the same then, but the license is then approved by PTPA. So this is different because we cannot approve ourselves. So that's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, and the best thing would be if it's approved by the tours as well and the Grand Slams, because then we're in the same boat and we help each other. And I just ask me the question all the time, what could be wrong with that? And if it's nothing wrong and nobody makes millions with that, why shouldn't we do it? Because of the greater good.
Yeah. It seems the common theme I hear is professionalism and consolidate all the different multiple
Exactly.
organizations, acronyms, and everything else into one license or a couple pathways, which clarifies a lot of things from my perspective for the player.
Exactly.
When I talk to players who are searching for a coach, it is a very much an unknown process for them. Maybe their agent says, "Hey, I know somebody." Maybe they've heard about somebody, but they don't necessarily always find the right match. And I think not only the license helps with this, but it clarifies who that person is or who that coach is.
Yes.
And I see on this side of the net, players with a lot of anxiety around and just the unknown of how can I find the right person for me.
And I think it's important also to know that nothing changes in a negative way. It just changes in the positive way, because the managers can do the same thing as you said. But then, first of all, they look for licensed coaches. First of all, secondly, they look for a good person. So it's the same way. But when they get a job, then they are accountable. And also for the manager, it's a little bit of a security. Some managers, they have their coaches that I use all the time. Of course, it doesn't hurt them to have a licensed coach, right? Maybe they can even get more money for that. And the coach is more secure because he has a network, official network. And also, if you're a licensed coach, you have the approval of PTPA. So PTPA takes care of some things as well. We have the insurance with the PTPA. We have different education programs with it. We have the possibility to use people like yourself. This is amazing for us coaches as well, to cooperate and collaborate with the players community. I think there are no downsides. I was actually talking to the USTA about this during the US Open, and they were also very positive because they said they don't see any negative side about it. That's just question how you can do it, because PTCA and PTPA doesn't interfere in a national program, right? Because let's say that Finland, they have to have their program. They want to beat Sweden, and that badly. And for the moment, it's not a big problem for them. But it was once in a time. And Denmark wants to beat Germany, and Germany. So you cannot have the same education program. Everybody has to do that, but for us, we need to recognize and respect all this diversity. Nowadays, we talk about diversity, but maybe we can talk about diversity in that sense as well, right? So it's different. It's completely different. So we try to connect diversity, bring it together to a profession, and go from there. And if you respect diversity, then it's a good start.
So a big tent, and then there's multiple different stalls inside of the tent.
I mean, like the tennis players are. Everybody's plays different, different personalities, right? Different styles, different technique, different materials. How could you possibly in a sport make everything the same?
Yeah,
I mean, nobody will watch that, right?
yeah,
So diversity is the most important thing, and to allow diversity, but we have to bring it to a point where everything goes together,
Mm.
and no federation can do that.
Mm.
No one, because no, I mean, Denmark will never go under Germany,
Right.
right? So we have to do something, and they don't have any disadvantages if we do it. If they do it with another nation, then they have diversity. So we try to bring international tennis together and different professions together through this diplomat of tennis. And for me, that's it. And then we can start to talk, how can we help with different programs? But in different countries, you have just private programs. That's
Yeah.
fine. But then we have to help them with the private programs to evaluate and respect. And you cannot say that this is bad or good. We don't claim that one country or one education is better than the others, but we just say, do your education, believe in yourself, go the pathway, but you need a lot of years for that.
Yeah. What haven't we covered that would be good to conclude this with?
I think you asked the right questions actually, and we did. I think we talked about a lot, and
Yeah.
now we look forward to the next year and see what happens. But if everybody is willing to come together and talk and sit down, I think the tennis world will be so much better and so much bigger, and nobody will lose anything. Everybody will just gain. So it will be better for the players, better for the tournaments, better for ATP, better for WTA. And I think that's the goal for the PTPA as well. And for sure, it's a goal for PTCA. Obviously, there are some people that don't believe in that, but then they should say what they believe in, accept their own pocket.
We have work to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.